So how do you get motivated to work? This is something I hear more often than I'd like, and I want to share some perspectives with you in this video if you're finding it a little bit tough to stay the course and keep your motivation and drive at the highest level. You're not going to like what I have to hear or have to say, but it's important anyways. Hey, what's going on, guys? Yuri here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. We help health professionals get clients and scale their businesses online, virtual practice, coaching business specifically. And one of the things that I think is really, really important to consider is how to get motivated to do the work, right? Really simple, because if you don't have drive, I'll tell you this, the number one factor in your success is your ability to stay in the game long enough. That's it. There's no finish line in business. It's the finish line is like, just keep playing the game. How do you keep playing the game if you lose motivation? How do you keep playing the game if you can't stand your business anymore? How do you keep playing the game if you don't want to get out of bed in the morning? That's the conversation that we're having here. And that's a conversation that a lot of entrepreneurs have because they build these businesses that end up becoming either like golden handcuffs, like as an example, a health practice. I find it funny. So just a bit of context. So we help practitioners and coaches build their virtual practice in such a way that doesn't require them to do one-on-one coaching or care. Because the alternative is we help them grow their practice, but essentially create slavery for themselves in the process. And I'll tell you this, it's a lot like, and I'll tell you a story about one of the programs that we killed last year because of this. But it's very, very challenging for me to have a conversation with a practitioner who's like, oh my God, like life is amazing. My practice is full. Why is that? Why is that something you should be proud of? Because as an example, last night, my wife tried to book an appointment with an osteopath and the first availability was 3 weeks away. How is that helpful? So, I mean, either the person, my wife, waits in discomfort for 3 weeks or we find somewhere else to go. So don't like, it's not a badge of honor that your practice is full. It's an indication that you don't know how to deliver great care to more people without your trading time for money. That's the reality. Okay. And here's why Healthpreneur, we decided not to help health professionals grow their physical brick and mortar practice. And this is weird because last year at the beginning of the pandemic, I had like this rush of blood to the head where I'm like, you know what, we should have a program to help practitioners build their brick and mortar, right? Because apparently, like, I don't know why, because our bread and butter was helping them go virtual and I'll tell you why we do that. So we built out this friggin' thing. And like, I'm like, spent like months building this out, building the system, the strategies, the marketing, all this kind of stuff. Had a number of clients go through it. And then I was like, guys, like, this is not who we are. I'm not passionate about helping people fill their practice. Why would I be passionate about helping people create slavery for themselves? Great job. You tripled your practice. Oh, when was the last time you saw your kids? Oh, yeah. You kissed them on the forehead while they're sleeping last night because you got home at 8 o'clock at night after 16 hours a day working with patients. That's a disaster. Our mission is to help health entrepreneurs make their dreams happen. Their dream is not to be in the clinic all day long. Now, I'm not saying you can't have a great clinic that's full and have good leverage with a proper team, but most practitioners don't do that. They just want more patients. If you're a massage therapist, right, the last thing you'd want to have is a full practice. Right? If you enjoy these things called your hands, maybe in business for 10 years. I don't know. Like there's massage therapists who are around for longer than that. You know, all the credit to them. It's amazing. But how are you supposed to be motivated to work when all you see is like this tunnel and it just goes on forever? There's no light at the end of the tunnel. When I was training clients and working with nutrition clients one-on-one back in the day, 20 some odd years ago, it was like 16 hours a day. Was I motivated to do the work? After a while, I'm like, I got to pay the bills. That's it. Like that was my only motivation. I really enjoyed helping my clients. I enjoyed spending time with them for sure. But I was underpaid, right? It was ridiculous. And I was working like a crazy person. And the moment where it all broke for me was I was training a client in their condo. It was like, I got up at 6 in the morning, I think. At the time, I wasn't a morning person. shoveled my car out of the snow because we had street parking and it was the winter in Toronto. And I drove across the city to their condo. I get there like 6:50 and I park in their underground garage and I'm looking at the concrete wall in front of me as I'm parking there. And I'm sitting in my car for 5 minutes. I'm like, what the F am I doing here? Like, is this my life? Like, this is it. And I mean, I went through, and I feel, kind of bad for some of my clients because I was not present in a lot of cases. I was working with them, but I'm like looking at the watch. I'm thinking, my God, when is this going to end? And if you can relate to that, I get it, right? I was there for a long time, and a lot of people are still there. And it's my mission to get you, if you are so willing, out of that. And that's why with Healthpreneur, we decided to kibosh that brick and mortar growth coaching program that we had. And we went back to, well, we still had it anyways, but like since day one, we've been helping people go virtual, right? So we've never stopped that, but we just decided to add on, like, hey, we could also do brick and mortar. I was like, screw that. I don't even want to touch that. And we went back to what we're focused on, what we're truly passionate about, because in my good conscience, I don't feel good being like, yeah, let's slam your practice with patients and create a waiting list and do all. I'm like, that's not what I want to do. I want to help you create time and location freedom. I want you to help more people in a way that is more impactful for them, because I don't think a brick and mortar is the best way to help people. Sure, certainly, an adjustment or a massage is important, but there are way better ways for most people, most practitioners, to create even better results by empowering their clients in a virtual manner, right? And if you don't know how to do that, that's fine, right? That's why we exist. You didn't know how to adjust spines before you went to chiropractic college, right? So that's why people come to us. And so if you don't have the motivation to do the work, well, number one, maybe you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's just day in and day out, right? It's like a friggin' assembly line. All right, let's just put the nails in the thing. It's nonstop. So it's very tough to get motivated if you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. This goes back to your vision. If you don't have a vision for your life, if you don't have a vision for your business, then there's no juice behind what it is you do. You have to find a reason to get out of bed every single morning that is so compelling that like you can't even sleep. And listen, I've been through this. I think it oscillates, to be honest, because you go through periods of up and down, right? Some days you're like super pumped. And then there's times where you're like, man, like, I don't know, like life's pretty good. Or maybe it's just overwhelming and I'm burnt out and I don't feel like there's two ways this can go. Like you're burnt out and you don't want to get out of bed, or things are good and you're like, I don't want to get out of bed. There's no juice either way. There's no juice to move you forward. This happens very commonly with entrepreneurs who build businesses to a certain point, right? Let's just call it several $100,000, or, well, I guess, again, everyone's got a different set point. So for some, it's, I just want to make 10K a month, then I'm going to coast. I'm like, really, 10K a month? In 5 years, you can't even buy a Big Mac combo with that. So like some people are okay there. Other people are like, I'm making $1 million a month and that's their set point and I'm good. But at every level, the dangerous thing about achieving your goals, the only thing more dangerous about achieving your goals, or, let me just use a metaphor. The only thing more dangerous than reaching the peak of a mountain is not setting your sights on an even bigger mountain. And I share this from my personal experience, as well as knowing a lot of people who build great businesses who've gone through the same thing. Is they get to a point where life is good. Hey, I'm like, I got cash in the bank, business is good, revenue is good. What's the next level? Like I'm good. I'm just going to coast, right? And there's like this identity crisis that happens to be like, why am I doing this? Like, what's the bigger reason here? I don't need more money. And what it comes down to all the time, every single time, is contribution. So you have to find a way to get out of your own way and make it about someone else as opposed to you. So if your motivation, again, two perspectives, let's say you're at a point where things are great, right? Like, I mean, in my life, things are awesome. I live in my dream house. I've got 2 friggin' amazing supercars that I love. But again, like, let me be clear. I don't do that stuff. I don't do what I do for that stuff. And I understand that stuff is in no way, shape, or form meaningful or drives happiness. But I like it, right? And I don't need a lot of stuff. I just like really cool things. A house where I live and spend most of my time, and an awesome car, right? That's it. Am I going to have more cars in the future? You better believe it, right? Because I want them. But that's not my purpose for getting out of bed in the morning. It's about helping my clients. It's about helping my team achieve financial freedom for themselves, to do meaningful work that they love, that they would never even consider working anywhere else because they're allowing to grow into their full potential. And when people do great work, they're able to inspire others to be the best that they're able to be. That's what drives me. But I don't know what it is for you, right? But I think a lot of times having these conversations with other high-level business owners is you have to find some compelling reason, and it's usually going to be impact over money, right? Because you're going to achieve a certain level of income where any marginal increases over above and beyond that are not going to really make a significant difference in your life. So really thinking about your vision, your why, like why did you get into doing what you're doing in the first place, and really thinking about from someone else's perspective, how can you show up? Like I'll tell you, like a really, really big motivator for me in the last year has been my team. I remember, I think it was Steve Jobs or someone talking about Steve Jobs. I think it was Steve Jobs who went for a walk through some neighborhood in, wherever they are in Palo Alto or San Francisco. And it was the proudest moment of his life because every single house in that neighborhood, and they're all like these beautiful big houses, every single one of those houses was one of his employees. And I'm like, that's amazing. And that's something that really inspires me, is to help, my team become the best they can be and achieve whatever the goals are they want, right? And that gets me super excited. And I get very excited about, what my clients can achieve as well. So I don't know what it is for you, but you have to find that bigger reason why. Because if you don't have that, that's the juice, right? That's the thing that's going to help you move through the challenges. That's the thing that's going to get you out of bed in the morning. Like there's mornings that I get up at 2:30. I'm like, I can't sleep anymore. I'm just like ready to get stuff going because I see how the things I'm doing today are connected to the big vision, right? And that's the second piece is you have the vision, you know the why, but you also have to connect what you're doing today, how that's going to get you there, right? And this requires a good level of thinking to say, oh, is what I'm doing very important? Is posting this video on Instagram the most important thing I should be doing with my time? Or like, how is it moving me closer to my goals? Because there's nothing worse than doing a lot of work without any understanding of how it's going to get you to the bigger vision. So you have to be able to connect the dots. When I wrote the All Day Energy Diet, which was my first nutrition book years ago, I became a #2 New York Times bestseller. One of the things I talked about in the book was, actually it was the last chapter. I said, listen, I've given you the exact nutrition protocol to have all day energy, right? Like you do this stuff, you're going to feel like a new person in 5 days. Guaranteed. I've seen it thousands of times. But here's the thing. And I finished with this. And I said, if you hate what it is you do, none of this is going to matter. Because you could be as healthy as you want to be, but if you hate or you're so just apathetic about your work, nothing's going to matter. And here's the biggest problem is that statistically, employee disengagement is a major pandemic. It is disgusting how many people are doing work they don't enjoy doing. I had to go to the DMV in where I live, whatever it's called, Service Ontario here, to get a new license plate yesterday. And when I hear the conversations of government employees, it drives me fucking crazy because I have a disdain for this kind of nonsense. People doing work, they're just showing up, punching in and punching out, and they're living life like they're drones. Like they're not even, there's no meaning to what they do. And so this one lady was like, the customer was asking the lady like, oh, how's your day going? And she's like, I got to come into work. And I'm like, are you freaking serious? Like, really? Why do you exist? What is your purpose on this planet? And that kind of stuff, I feel it really bothers me. And it's really sad because the majority of people are doing work like that. And it's really, really sad and unfortunate. And statistically, again, employee disengagement, like the people who are just like, they've checked out. They're getting a paycheck, but they've checked out, is rampant. Because of COVID and all the SERPs and all the government assistance and stuff, a lot of people don't even want to go to work. They're like, well, I'm going to get paid whatever I need to survive by the government anyways. I'm just going to chill. I was speaking with a high-level event planner that I ran into at a salon I wasn't getting my haircut, my kids were. And he does a lot of, he's on TV, he has a Food Network show, and met him for the first time. And he was talking about how he was just in Vegas. And he's like, dude, like you can even go to a restaurant in Vegas. There's like one bartender, two servers at these high-end restaurants. He's like, no one wants to work. And there's the same thing out in Calgary, like Tim Hortons, like, which is like Dunkin' Donuts here in Canada, but maybe a little bit nicer, closed down. Like no one wants to do the work. No one wants to come in. It's ridiculous. And I think what's happened is just that this level of like the government or society is going to take care of me. And like, I don't need to work. What's the point? It's this whole union mentality. It's disgusting, to be honest. And as I mentioned in another video, it's like, if you don't have work, you're not good enough. It's that simple. And if you have zero intention of skilling up and leveling up and getting better, you don't deserve to work, nor should you deserve to get anything, because no one should be entitled to anything. You have to work for it. You have to earn it, because what you get is a direct reflection of what you give. So get better, skill up, or shut up. So I think this is a major, major issue. Is going back to the theme here is like, how do you get motivated to do the work? You have to do work you love. You have to connect it to the vision, and you have to be able to connect on a daily basis what you're doing to that bigger vision. And if you're doing stuff you don't love to do, man, you got to get out of that as fast as humanly possible, because what's the point? What is the point of collecting a paycheck for work you hate? And if you're running a business you don't enjoy running, you have to change it. My first health business, I sold it because I couldn't stand it anymore. And it was killing my soul. And I was very, very clear about why that was happening. And you have to be willing to make those decisions, because if you're not, you're never going to live a level of happiness, a life of happiness. It's going to be just day in and day out, grind away, punch in, punch out. And it's not fun. It is not fun in the slightest. And that's why people drown themselves in alcohol. That's why they drown themselves in hours of Netflix, and they're looking to escape because they can't stand their life. My hope for you, and this is our why with Healthpreneur, my why as a human is to create a world where every man, woman, and child has the ability to live a great quality of life with amazing health, amazing abundance, and do work that they love. I know that's never going to happen, but that's what I'm on a mission to do on this planet. So if I can make a dent in that in some way, shape, or form, that's great. So hopefully this video has inspired you. Hopefully it's given you a bit of a kick in the ass. It is what it is. So if you've enjoyed this, subscribe to the channel. I've got tons of other stuff to help you build an amazing business, not grill an amazing steak, especially if you're a health professional, obviously. But even if you're not, there's tons of stuff that's ubiquitous across any industry here. So anyways, subscribe if you've enjoyed this. Drop me a comment below. What do you think about this conversation? And I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.